All right, today we're jumping into Wings of Fire, the autobiography of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Now, this is the story of a man who came from truly humble beginnings to become one of India's most celebrated scientists and its president. It's just an incredible story about finding your purpose, and honestly, it all comes down to one single powerful idea.
This quote right here, this is the heart of his entire philosophy. The idea that every single one of us has this inner potential, this fire. And our job, our whole life's work, is to build the wings that are going to let it soar. This one concept is the thread that runs through his entire life. So, let's see how he built his wings, starting from the very, very beginning.
So our story starts in the small island town of Ramaswaram. You see, Kalam's journey didn't kick off with money or privilege, but with something, way more valuable.
I want you to just picture a house on Mosque Street. Life was simple, no extra luxuries or anything like that, but Kalam describes his childhood as being completely and totally secure. There was always enough food, always enough love, and this deep sense of faith. That security became the bedrock, the foundation for everything he would build in his life.
A few key people really shaped him in those early years. You had his father, who gave him this incredible spiritual wisdom and discipline, while his mother was just a model of kindness. But then there was also his friend Jalaluddin, who would talk about scientific discoveries, stuff happening way beyond their little town. And his cousin Samsuddin, who gave him his very first job delivering newspapers, teaching him the pride of earning his own way.
And this just brilliantly captures the core lesson from his father. For them, prayer wasn't some empty ritual. It was about connection. It was about understanding that we're all part of something so much bigger than ourselves, a cosmos without any divisions. This worldview, something he learned in a small-town mosque, would end up guiding him for his entire life.
But this foundation of faith, well, it was about to be tested in a major way. Like any great story, Kalam's journey has a moment of real crisis, and his came just as he was about to grab a lifelong dream.
I mean, he had done everything right. He'd studied aeronautical engineering, totally fascinated by flight since he was just a kid. He gets to the Air Force interview. This was it. His one true dream. But there were only 8 spots, and he placed 9th. Just like that. The dream he had worked for his entire life was just gone. So this brings up a huge question, right? What do you do in that moment? He was completely dejected, heartbroken. Kalam actually traveled to Rishikesh, searching for some kind of answer. This disappointment was so deep, it honestly could have just ended his ambition right then and there.
And here is the answer he found, from a spiritual leader, Swami Sivananda. This wasn't just, there, it'll be okay. This was a complete and total reframing of what failure even is. The idea that this crushing blow wasn't an end at all, but a necessary detour, a redirection towards his true destiny.
With this whole new perspective, Kalam's personal journey started to merge with the ambitions of a newly independent India, a nation that had its own massive dreams. He joined the Defense R&D Organization and was put in charge of a small team building a hovercraft. Now, this project was way bigger than their collective experience, but you know what? They did it. The Nandi was proof of his drive and his ingenuity, but his vision was about to get stretched in a way he couldn't even imagine. And this is where we see just a monumental leap in thinking. On one side, you have Kalam's hovercraft, which is super impressive. But on the other, you have the vision of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, not just one machine, but an entire program to put India into space. We're talking about a shift from building a prototype to literally building a nation's future.
Sarabhai, this guy was a true visionary, the man who could see the bigger picture. He saw in Kalam not just an engineer who could build a cool hovercraft, but someone who could help build a national space program. This mentorship changed absolutely everything, taking Kalam's personal ambition and plugging it into a national mission.
So, Kalam gets the job. He's chosen as the project leader for India's first satellite launch vehicle, the SLV-3. And the way he managed this absolutely enormous task, well, it became a lesson in leadership all by itself.
Okay, just stop and think about this number for a second. Over 1 million components. This wasn't just an engineering problem. This was a massive human coordination challenge. We're talking hundreds of people across dozens of organizations, all trying to work together.
So how'd he do it? Well, it wasn't about top-down command and control. No, it was all about trust and empowerment. He'd have his junior team members present their own work, giving them ownership. His focus was on enabling his team, getting them to talk to each other, and, this is so critical, building the resilience to handle the setbacks that he knew were coming.
This piece of advice he got from Dr. Brahm Prakash, the director of the Space Center, just hits the nail on the head. The mission's success wasn't just about the tech, it was about the people. Managing a project this big was a human job, and it required a ton of patience.
And this brings us right back to our central theme. Through this massive project, Kalam wasn't just building a rocket. He was building the wings for his own inner fire, and for the fire of an entire nation.
If you look at this timeline, you can see just how fast all of this happened. I mean, the journey from launching a foreign-made rocket in '63 to starting their own satellite launch vehicle project just 10 years later, that is an incredible acceleration. This was the dream of self-reliance becoming a reality, one tough step at a time.
So when you boil it all down, Wings of Fire is so much more than just a title. It's a formula. The fire, that's the potential that's inside every one of us. And the wings, well, that's what we build through hard work, through facing failure, and through believing in a purpose that's bigger than ourselves.
Dr. Kalam's story is just such a powerful reminder that our paths are not always a straight line, and that sometimes our greatest failures are the very things that push us toward our true destiny. So as we wrap this up, it's worth asking yourself, what's your fire? And what wings are you building today to let that fire soar?